Good afternoon, family. Today, we're going to do something just a little different. We're going to make some homemade bread, an easy recipe that you can do. So I'm going to show you what you need and how to get it done. But first, I have cut up my green peppers that are still growing in the garden. I've laid them out on some wax paper. I'm going to put them in the freezer and let them freeze first, and then I will put them in some freezer bags. So I'm going to put that in the freezer. And we are going to proceed with making our bread. The first thing you need is your flour. I am using King Arthur's unbleached flour. Okay? You will need some salt. And this is Himalayan salt, but you use the salt of your choice. You will also need some active dry yeast. Always check your date to make sure that it is still fresh. And you will need just a tablespoon of sugar with each batch that you make. And I am using the turbinado brown sugar here. Okay, of course you need your bowls. You need your loaf pans, and I am making 2 loaves. You will need a cup, 1 cup and a half of cup. You will need a teaspoon and a tablespoon. And some warm water. Not hot water, but warm water. Okay, let's get started. So, I'm making 2 batches. So, I will use 2½ cups per loaf. One, 2 for this one. 1, 2 for that one, and the half. A half for that one, and a half for this one. I'm going to leave my flour out because later I will need my flour to knead my bread. And it doesn't call for a lot, so don't get scared. Okay. I hope you can see that. Let me bring you in just a little closer. Just a little higher. And bend you down. Okay, I'm also going to get a tablespoon. Okay, so for the yeast, you will need a tablespoon per batch. 1 for this loaf and 1 for that one. That's your tablespoon. Your salt, you will need a teaspoon. 1 for this one and 1 for that one. See how simple this is? And for your sugar. And sugar just helps the yeast to activate. So we'll use a tablespoon here and a tablespoon for there. Now I guess if you wanted some sweet bread, you could use more. Okay. Now I got my big spoon here. because I am going to mix these together real good. And you could also put them in a shifter. And I think that might make your flour just a little lighter. I've also tried the brown flour, but it just makes the bread a little denser, but it is still good to eat. Mixing that up real good in there. Make sure that yeast and salt and sugar are mixed together well. And I'll do the same for the next batch. You will love this bread. It is so easy. You can always make extra, freeze it, and pull it out when you need it. And you don't have to worry about going to the store to buy bread. Okay, for the water, we are going to mix. I'm going to set one of these back here until we get a doughy consistency. You don't want it mushy and you don't want it too thick. So I'm going to use my spoon. And it's about a cup of water or less per batch. But you have to keep an eye on it, and I'll show you what it should look like. And you just keep stirring it in. And actually, you can use your fingers, which I've washed my hands and made sure my fingernails were real clean, and just mix it together. Real good here. And it doesn't take a lot to get that bread consistency, dough consistency. I'll let you see what I'm doing in here. As you can see there. All right, we need a little more. And when you go in all the way, 2 hands. And this is just kneading your dough. And sometimes you just have to get a little more flour. Not a lot, so your hands don't become too sticky. And you're going to see this in a second. And the best thing about this, it really only takes a couple hours. It doesn't have to sit all day. Look at that. See that? I'm just going to do that a little bit more. Put a little flour at the bottom here. else do with this one. And actually, let's see, I'm just about finished. And what you do, you leave it, and I have it like in a ball here, in your bowl there, and you cover it up and you let it double in size. And I'm going to cover this one up after I do this one, and I'm going to let it sit and double in size. Actually, the warmer your house is, the quicker it will double, but it will rise. So we're just going to set this aside for a second, and I'm going to do the second one, and then I will cover them up. Now you see how easy that was? You can do that. It doesn't take many ingredients. You run out of bread in your house, just come and make yourself a couple of loaves. And it tastes delicious, especially with some nice butter on it, some margarine. Well, for me, it would be the vegan margarine, the Earth Balance. Little plug in for Earth Balance. Alright, I'm going to put you down in this bowl a little bit so you can see what I'm doing in here. I think to adjust my camera now, I would put a whole lot of dough inside on it, so I better not try to adjust that part. A whole lot of flour and dough. This one is looking good. I haven't gotten to the point yet where my hands are not sticky. One day I will be like my mother. Look at that. That look good. I'm just going to knead it a little bit more. And then I am going to set it aside like the other one. Put flour on my hands here. Alright, I got it in this like ball-like form. I'm going to put it in there, and I am going to get some dish towels and cover both of these bowls up, and then we'll bring you back after they have risen, doubled in size, and we'll go to our next step. Alright, family, our next step. Our dough has doubled in size, and honestly sometimes it rises much higher than this. I think because it's kind of cool here, it hasn't risen that much, but it will be fine. So our next step is to grease our loaf pans here. So we'll get them nice and greased up. Grease them up real good. This is just to keep your loaf from sticking to the bottom. Okay, so now we are going to put a little flour on our counter here. I'm trying it with gloves. This is my first time trying it with gloves. And we'll dump it out. And we'll get out our rolling pin. And I'll put a little flour on that. And we are going to roll this really good. Fold it up, over. And I will fold it again and roll it some more. And I will do this for about 4 times. Just this process here. No more kneading. Just rolling. You can see that good. Put it down some more. All right. The sun is shining here. I should have had these gloves on before. All right, I'm going to do that again. You can feel how light this is. Let's roll it some more. And I guess I should have told you needed a rolling pin. Some people use a glass to roll theirs. So I guess if you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a glass. All right. So I'm going to do it one more time. Instead of 4, I think I'll just do it 3. And roll it. And there's no special way to do this. Just rolling it out. Until it's pretty flat on your last time. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold it in like this. Kind of pull it out a little bit like that. and put it inside the loaf pan. And this will have to rise one more time. All right, we're going to do our next one. And also, you cover that loaf pan up also. And just set it aside. Move on to your next one. Put some more flour on my rolling pin. Right, roll that up and do that again. More flour on my rolling pin there. And over here so you can see. And I'm going to do this one more time. I said 4 times, but 3 times will work. Hold it up. I want it as flat as I can get it. And I can get it in the pan. Alright, that is going to be it. So I'm going to roll it, stretch it a little bit here. Very good. And my next pan. I'll just slip it right on in there. And these should rise 30 to 45 minutes. I'll cover this up. And in about maybe 20 minutes, I'll preheat my oven to 350 and we'll go from there. I'll show you that process when we get there. Okay, our bread, it's been about 30 minutes. I preheated my oven to 350. Look how nice the bread looks. Isn't that nice? So this process only takes about 2 hours. This one is a little uneven, but it's okay. It'll still be bread. So I am now going to adjust the oven to 375. I'm going to put my bread in the oven. And I am going to add some water to a little pan I have in here to create steam. And what the steam does is it helps keep the surface of the bread moist. And it helps expand the bread more rapidly. So we're going to let that bread bake for about, I would say maybe 30 minutes or so. We'll see how it looks. And after it finishes, we'll take it out and let you see what you can do. Our 30 minutes is up, so let's see what we have. I'm going to turn the oven off, get my oven mitt. Nice and hot. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. And family, this doesn't take more than a couple of hours. This was, I think that one was a crooked one. So I am going to put these over on the rack here. Let them cool off a little bit. But we're just going to have to taste a little bit so you can see what we have. Put this over here because I know the sun is shining so that you can see. Right down there. All right, that's where I want it. Got my knife already. We are going to dump this out here. Look how easy that comes out of that pan. Dump this one out. Turn them over. Oh, that look good, and it smells good too. So I am just going to have to cut a piece so that you can see. Nice and moist. Ah, look at that. I'm going to take some margarine here, spread that on there. Yeah. There. Now let me taste it for you. I'll raise it up a little bit so you can see better. All right. It is delicious. It is delicious. Shouldn't be talking with bread in my mouth. So I'm going to put this down and remind you that there are many times where bread is referred to in the Bible. It's not just for nourishment to fill your belly, but it also refers to Jesus as the bread of life. Jesus supplied the Israelites when they were walking through the wilderness with manna. And he tells us in John chapter 6 that that manna signified not only the food that they ate, but it was him, his presence with them. And one of my favorite texts from John 6 was, Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. So every day, as much as possible, we need to eat that bread of life, which is Jesus. His word is the bread of life. Feast on his word. And that is my lesson for today. So family, go out and make it a good afternoon. Be a blessing to others. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. And we'll see you next time on the Hillside Homestead.